Are you trying to make your Line 6 Helix sound like this? If so, I am going to teach you how to make your Line 6 Helix emulate a Boss HM-2. Well, anyways, I am Joe with sloppyjoesshredshack. Nice to have you. Now, if you've seen my face before, welcome back to the Shred Shack. And if you haven't seen my face before, thank you for coming here. Really excited to have you guys. Definitely hit that like, smash that subscribe, and hit that bell notification. That would make me feel real good. And I like feeling real good. So today I'm going to walk you through how to make a Boss HM-2 on your Line 6 Helix. As we all know, the Line 6 Helix does not have a Boss HM-2 or a Boss HM-2 clone on it. So the reason I made this patch, and I'm going to teach you how to make the pedal, quote unquote, I guess, is because I really love the sound of the HM-2. I listen to a lot of Entombed. I listen to Gate Creeper. I listen to Nails. I love that weird, harsh chainsaw sound. Now, I design all my patches as if I'm going to be running them like a real pedal board, and I've owned, you know, HM-2 variants, so I kind of have an idea how it works. So all I did is I kind of went and looked up like the EQ curve of Boss HM-2, like for the most part, like a general EQ curve, what it kind of looks like, and I tried to emulate that inside the Helix, and I got a tone that was really convincing. So we're gonna flip over to the Helix over here, and I am just gonna teach you how to do it. I'm not gonna do it in HX Editor. I'm gonna do it right on the rack unit itself, because most everyone's gonna know what that looks like. Some people just edit on the screen. If you want to do it in HX Edit, guys, go and do it in HX Edit, but I'm gonna show you on the screen behind me. So alright, so I switched over to my camera here just to kind of give you guys a better idea as to what I'm looking at. So I have this patch called Swedish Death, and it's very simple. So it starts out with just a tube screamer that I only use for leads if I need to. And then it has the Ds1 Vintage. Now those are the settings that I have. Now you can really mess with those and get really crazy, but the big thing that I tell you, make sure your level is at 10. Make sure that's at 10. I just like the way that it sounds. Then right after that, I put a 10-band graphic EQ. Now, these are the settings for the graphic EQ. The 31.25 hertz, 0, 62.5 hertz, 0, 125 hertz, I just have a plus 0.1 decibel. At 250 hertz, minus 0.7. At 500 hertz, minus 12 decibels. At 1 kilohertz, and this is what gives it that really chainsaw-y type sound, 12.4 decibel boost. Now we're going to go to the next page here. At 2 kilohertz, this is also a kind of, this whole spike, it's this giant hump in the midsection here is what gives it that crazy sound. 2 kilohertz. We have 8.2 decibel boost. At a 4 kilohertz, we have 5.6 decibel boost. 8 plus 0.3, 16 kilohertz, we have a minus 0.7 decibel boost. I do not boost on the EQ itself. Now, I have this to be a pretty much universal setup. So now, if you're looking to set it up on your pedal board, so what I have here is I have the Boss DS1 and the EQ routed to the same foot switch. So when you press it on, it activates both the pedal and the EQ, which is what gives it the Boss HM-2 sound. All right, so here's my clean tone. To kind of give you an idea as to what it sounds like. It's kind of more like a pushed amp here. And that's pretty much about it. If you're curious about the amp sim that I'm using a Soldano SLO 100. Now, let's kick on the HM-2. It sounds awesome. Absolutely love it. Now, obviously, you kind of have to be used to that sound, if I'm being totally frank with you, but it's pretty sweet. Now, I have another patch that I have set up. I call it Swedish Death 2, and it's kind of, if I'm recording, to run like a left and right thing. So here's that other patch that I have set up, just to kind of give you a little bit of context. So yeah, super cool. So now what I'm going to do is we're just going to make a new patch with the stock cabs in real time, okay? All right, so what I did here is I just brought up a new preset, and I'm just going to teach you how to make an HM-2 patch yourself. It's really, really easy. So we're going to pick a random spot here. Let's just go right there. We're going to grab a Boss DS1, which is the DS1 Vintage. Or you can do the modded. I prefer the Vintage. That's just me. Remember, crank the level. The tone, now, that can do whatever you want. If you want it really high, you can have it there. If you want it low, it'll be right there. This single knob does a lot of tone shaping for you. I want to be absolutely clear about that. And then your drive can be wherever you want it. I usually choose high noon, and then I dive the tone a little bit lower here. So we're going to do that. We're going to bypass it for now. We're going to go to this next block here, and we're going to hit our EQ, select mono or stereo, whatever you want to do, however your setup is, but I always do a mono setup. We're going to grab the 10-band graphic EQ here, guys. All right, so here's the secret formula. 31.25, 0 decibels, 62.5, 0 decibels, 125 hertz. That is plus 0.1. You can kind of goof with these as much as you want. This is my general setup here, okay? Now, 250 hertz, that is going to be minus 0.7. Now, at 500 hertz, this is where it starts to get extreme, minus 12 decibels, okay? All right, 1 kilohertz, we're going to go up 12.4 decibels. And again, you guys can kind of goof around with your EQs a little bit if you want, and that's totally up to you. All right, at 2 kilohertz, it's still going to stay high at plus 8.2 decibels. Quite the boost going on here. All right, and then at 4 kilohertz, it's still high, plus 0.56 decibels. Come on. There we go, right there. Now at 8 kilohertz, it's only a little bit of a boost, 0.3 decibels. And then at 16 kilohertz, it is subtract 0.7 decibels. And then our level stays at 0. Now, we're gonna bypass that again. The next thing we're gonna do, we can select any head I've kind of figured out, and the HM-2 weirdly makes everything sound the same. So we're gonna select just a normal, let's just do just a typical metal head, very, very run-of-the-mill thing. Let's just do a let's get weird here. Well, maybe not even weird. Let's just do PV5150. That's fine. All right. And I like to crank my channel volume up. But Then we're gonna put a cab in. Now we're gonna select just a heavy metal cab because we're going for a heavy metal tone. Oh, not an amp, you silly goober. Let's look here, cab. Single cab. I could do a dual cab, but we'll just do single for now. Just to kind of give you guys the very simple idea here. All right, we're gonna do the 412 double XL V30. I'm gonna put a 57 right on the cone, low cut maybe at, I don't know, 50 hertz or something, high cut 9.1, and then that's pretty much about it. That's all I'm gonna do. All right, we're gonna tweak you. If you want, you can tweak it from there. You can use your favorite IR settings or all that fun stuff. But this is just what I'm gonna do just for the sake of the demo. Okay. All right. So now we got our amp. We have our cab and we have our pedal. Now, how do we get those two things assigned to the same foot switch? One, we're gonna select the DS1 vintage or highlight it here. We're gonna go down to our pedal board and we're gonna hold our finger on it. We're gonna select OK. Your pedal is assigned there. Now, we're gonna do the same thing with the EQ. So we're gonna highlight the EQ. We're gonna go back down to our pedal. We're gonna hold the one that was already selected with the DS1 on there, and then we're going to go back and select OK on the amp or on the Helix unit itself. Then we select that, and now, all right, so when it does that, it says multiple 2. If you want to rename this, you can. There's a ton of videos on the internet showing you how to rename the little scribble scripts on here. I'm not going to for now because I feel like that's a waste of time. All right, so I'm gonna hurry up and just get my amp settings kind of more of like a cleaner tone on this Helix or the PV 5150, just so I can kind of get a sound that I would most likely use. So I'm just gonna adjust a few things here. All right, so now that I've got my amp kind of set up here, here's what it sounds like. Now this is completely stock IRs. I'm not using any weird impulse responses. I know that most of you know that I use the Own Hammer IRs. I love those, but for the sake of the video, I want you to be able to achieve this sound without having to buy anything. So to recap, we set up the pedal, we set up the 10-band EQ, we put both of those onto one foot switch on your pedal board. We put an amp on, and then we put one of the Line 6 cabs on, and this is what it sounds like. All right, and that's how you make a Boss HM-2 patch on your Line 6 Helix. Now, to complement your single tone that you made if you're doing some recording, definitely make another patch and kind of run it like a left and right kind of thing. And this is what it will sound like. I'm gonna do a playthrough of a song that I kind of made for this, okay? Now, if you like what you're seeing here, definitely click subscribe, smash that bell notification, and follow me in all of the upcoming videos. Now, you can always hit me up on Facebook. Just pretend this is a keyboard and type it into your browser, you turkey. Or hit me up on Instagram at sloppyjoes_shredshack. But anyways, I'm Joe. I taught you how to make a Boss HM-2 patch on your Line 6 Helix. I hope you found it informative, and I hope that you guys start writing some of the most badass heavy metal riffs in existence because of this. All right, guys, later.